All right, we're starting. Welcome back to the Malapert Smark podcast. Thank you for listening. Whoever listens out there, we're going to talk wrestling from this past week, whatever, since Monday, I guess, because last week we covered pretty much everything from before that. So for that, we got the wrestling expert here, Vlad. Thank you for joining us. I'm excited to see you guys. Thank you for coming on.
No problem.
And we got the Frozen Nation. Once again, we're up against it. Lately, we've been busy adults, and we haven't had much time. So this week, we have 1 hour again, like last week. So let's speed through whatever we can from the past week. I don't know. I don't think it was a very hot week, but we do a wrestling podcast, and the people out there expect our thoughts every week. So we got to do it, no matter what. Right, Vlad? I mean, would this have been a skippable week? I had Nitro lined up just in case.
The show must go on.
Yeah, exactly. I had some Nitro. Sorry, Vlad. Sorry to interrupt you. I'll let you talk in a second. But I had some Nitros just in case, but I don't think we'll have time today. Maybe next time. But yeah, what do you think? In terms of wrestling this past week, what was your sense? Was this a good week? Was this a bad week? Was it an okay week?
It was an okay week. It wasn't the worst. There was at least a pay-per-view, and we could discuss the quality of the pay-per-view when we review the show and whatnot, but or when we review whatever from that what the hell, PLE. But overall, it was okay. It wasn't the worst. I would say.
Robert, you got a good sense of this past week, or what? Did you get the sense hey, we got to go on this podcast and talk about what this happened right now, or what?
Well, the only couple of things I watched were Dynamite and then the PLE, the WWE Backlash. I didn't watch Raw. I didn't watch SmackDown, but I did see a clip from SmackDown involving Paul Heyman that was pretty interesting.
Raw and SmackDown, I think this week it's that thing where they're in the final go-home week, and they've pretty much already got all the matches in stone, and there wasn't really much to do for that last week. So I don't really even have much from Raw and SmackDown to talk about. I have a couple things I bookmarked here we'll talk about, but I don't know. I didn't think they were that eventful. Basically, we already had the storylines going into Backlash, so let's go ahead and get started. We're starting with WWE today, and then we'll do AEW if we have time afterwards, I guess. But I have a clip from Raw from April 29th, so this past Monday, and I think it was kind of funny how Drew McIntyre went up to look for CM Punk in the crowd, and then by the time he got there, CM Punk was already in the ring, which I think they've been doing a pretty good job, a really good job, a great job keeping CM Punk involved in the storyline, even though he's been out injured. But he looks pretty good. I mean, he's got his arms out, he's not in a cast, and he looks like he's in shape. So maybe he'll be back sooner rather than later, I guess. We'll see. But
maybe by SummerSlam. Who knows?
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So, okay, this is the one thing I clipped out of Raw, Vlad. I didn't really even pick anything else out. I don't know if you remember anything, but
at this point, no. It's if it was 6 days ago, it might as well have been 10 years ago for me. At this point, my brain, I can't remember things that happened. Like this morning, let alone 6 days ago. But yeah, I do remember this, and this was a good segment. A pretty damn good segment. But both of these guys have been killing it. I mean, I'm interested in their feud. I'm happy that Drew I think recently re-signed with WWE, or I don't know if it was an extension of a contract or just a new contract. I can't remember the details, but anyways, it doesn't matter. Happy that he's there, because this is going to be a fun feud, and I can't wait to see more of what develops between these two guys.
It's kind of sad for Drew McIntyre that the only thing he can think of this whole time while CM Punk is out injured is CM Punk. I don't know. I get this weird sense that it makes him look a little weak, that he's so obsessed over this guy. But maybe not.
Well, he cost him. He keeps costing him stuff, right?
Yeah, but even before that, he was really talking about him a lot, And
that's right. That's true.
Robert, any thoughts about the ongoing CM Punk Drew McIntyre feud before I move on to SmackDown.
I didn't watch any of Raw, so I didn't see this. But as far as the ongoing feud, I'm very entertained by it. It's fun to watch, so why not?
Yeah, okay. Well, they've been dragging it on, but luckily it's been going well. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somehow this doesn't feel like it's getting old already. It's kind of
No.
Not yet.
it's kind of funny that Drew McIntyre is kind of so into this thing with CM Punk.
Well, the one thing, the great line that Punk had in this thing is that he said he's going to cut a quick promo, but it's still going to be a little bit longer than Drew's title reign. You know, I thought that was a pretty good line. But anyways, no, I mean this was a memorable segment in the sense that Punk is obviously really good on the mic, but I'll let I don't want to take too much time off just to speak about that because I'm sure we have other things we can discuss.
Well, yeah, okay. So from SmackDown, there's an ongoing feud which is going to go into the pay-per-view between the Bloodline, which at this point consists of Solo and Tama Tonga and Paul Heyman, right? And they're feuding with KO and Randy Orton. So they had a big brawl to start, and I think that also ended the show too, right? And then AJ Styles and wait, hold on. Yeah, we'll jump to the AJ Styles stuff. Why not? So they had one last face-off where they talked, and him and Cody, because they're gonna fight for the WWE title on Saturday here, that we're gonna talk about right after this. But yeah, I mean AJ, they were gonna do the Too Sweet sign because they were both in the Bullet Club, right? Robert, I don't know if
they were, yeah.
And then AJ Styles slapped him instead and walked away. That was the end. I don't know. I was texting you guys earlier about how I wasn't really into this feud, even though I'm a huge AJ Styles fan. Oh, and then this is what I mentioned earlier about how, to go off the air, the Bloodline and KO and Randy Orton continued their brawl, and that's what started Backlash. But I guess I'll get comments from you guys about the AJ Styles-Cody feud before the match without the Bloodline stuff. We'll talk about that when we talk about the next match. But what about Cody and AJ? Robert, I'll start with you. Was it a good feud? I mean, some people would consider this a dream match, huh?
I think of it as a dream match, but the build itself, the feud, if you really want to call it that, is not much of a feud. I mean, it's just AJ Styles won the right to contend for the title, and that was it. I mean, there was really nothing else besides that. So I don't know. It's hard to really call it a feud. There was not too much build up for this angle. So, but as on paper, Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles, to me that's a dream match for sure.
Yeah, on paper it is. But Vlad, you got any comments about the feud?
I basically agree with Robert's opinion. I mean, it was not really quote unquote feud or like some sort of grudge match that these two guys were having. They don't have a lot of like hate towards each other or history or anything like that. This was just like, okay, the guy won an opportunity for the title, and now they have beef because they're gonna actually fight for the title. But it's not like this. Well, I think there's also the thing that this is post WrestleMania, and we had it so good for a couple months that there's always going to be that fall off post WrestleMania. I think we just have to get used to that.
I was gonna say, dude, I've been.
It can't always be that way. It can't always be that way. It can't always be. Well, yeah, I understand you're disappointed, but things can't always be.
But this is what I told you guys would happen when Cody won the title. Like, what are they gonna do after? He's just gonna be champion, and they're feeding him AJ Styles, who's a great worker historically, and everyone respects him. But this is a terrible matchup just because everyone knows who's gonna win. It's a waste of time.
How many matches did Roman have where we knew he was going to win and nobody ever complained that he was going to win the match? What are you talking about? Well, if he can't fight, he can't fight like every major person like right away. It's his first like what? It's not even been a month, or has it been a month? It might have been a month. I don't know. Since you won the title, I think you have to give it a little more time before you can say for sure that this is going to not be a good title reign. I mean, definitely we have to see before we can make that claim. I don't agree that completely yet. I agree that, yes, that is a concern of who he actually will be feuding with going forward. Like, what are they going to do? But overall, I think if you look back at Roman's title reign, he didn't always. It always was, for the most part, pretty obvious he was going to win as well. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but even though he knew he was going to win, they were good angles. Like the Sami Zayn one was good.
Sure.
You know, who else? Even Jey Uso, that was part of his family. That was pretty good. The one thing that was bad was probably his feud with Logan Paul. That came out of nowhere, and I think we all knew he wasn't going to lose there. But overall, dude, this has been a disappointment to me just because I am such an AJ fan, and this turned out bad. That's all I'm going to say. I'm the Malapert Smark here, man. It's my nickname now. I don't know if you noticed I've taken up the moniker of the Malapert Smark. I'm criticizing this angle, man. I'm sorry. AJ Styles, it's just not working. I know he was a champion in WWE for a long time, but he really doesn't have that much credibility right now. He hasn't won any big matches in recent memory. So he just lost to LA Knight at the last pay-per-view, and
I don't know. I don't completely agree, but I mean, you're right that
the feud itself, the match is going to be fine because they're good, but the feud itself, everything AJ was saying didn't have much merit, and him slapping him and everything, like, you know, I don't know. It just came, it didn't feel right to me. The whole thing didn't feel right.
They didn't have a lot of time to build it up, so I don't know. I'm not gonna really hate on it, really.
If AJ was gonna be a heel, I think he should have had a stable with him who was gonna help him cheat, that was gonna at least make it look like there was a chance he was gonna win, so that there was a moment where like someone was coming to help him, and then the referee was down, and like, oh shit, maybe this could happen, and then Cody overcomes. But just him by himself, I don't think anyone thought AJ had a chance to win a fair and square match against Cody. But we will get to that. Should we do that now, or should we do the Bloodline versus? Or let's go in order. We'll get to that later. I'll cut it all together somehow. But okay, let's jump to Backlash. So let me pull that up. So we're starting with the Bloodline match. That was the opening match against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, right? So they're facing off, and this has been going on, popping off for the recent weeks. And I'm skipping forward, but the match couldn't really start because it was like too much of
a brawl.
A brawl, yeah, chaos. It was chaos. And Nick Aldis came out and declared it a street fight, right? And that's how the match started. And then there was no rules, and then they fought into the crowd. And then 20 minutes later, I guess somehow the match was gonna end with, what the fuck was that? What do you call that? A spine buster or something, like a neck.
I don't know. That's not a spine buster. I don't know what it is. But
okay, KO with a big move off the top rope, some kind of suplex.
Throwing him on the chair.
He threw Tama Tonga onto the chair, and he was gonna pin him. And I guess this was gonna be the end. And then, very much Bloodline style, some member of the Bloodline pulled the referee out, and this is a new guy. Anyone catch a name?
Tonga Loa.
Okay, Tama Tonga's brother.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. So then, so Solo's gonna win because of this, and man, Kevin Owens really sold that finger spike, dude. That was really good. Really put him over there. I'm gonna play it again. I'm gonna play this again. Look at this. Nice. KO is a good wrestler. Good wrestler. Nice selling right there. All right, so we got a new character. Not the character I was expecting. I didn't even know who the hell this guy was. But yeah, Paul Heyman was there looking all surprised that there's yet another Bloodline member that he knew nothing about. So
Paul's so great in this role. But anyways, yes.
So any thoughts from you guys about this feud so far, or the new member? Should we start with Vlad?
Oh, go ahead.
Or no, Robert, you were already going. You go ahead.
No. Good.
Okay. So I thought for sure the Bloodline was gonna win this. To me there was no way Randy Orton and Kevin Owens were gonna win. Because first of all, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens at this point they gain nothing from a victory. Like they don't gain anything from beating the Bloodline in this match. The Bloodline has to still establish themselves as a legitimate stable in the absence of Roman Reigns, right? So they needed this victory a lot more than Randy Orton and Kevin Owens did. Couple things when Tonga Loa showed up. So Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga, they in New Japan they were part of Bullet Club, and they were also a part of another group called the Gorillas of Destiny. So post match, one of the commentators, I don't remember who said it, but one of them said during the post match scuffle, it's guerrilla warfare here. Destiny has brought Tonga Loa over to WWE, and then I laughed at that.
Marks.
You know, I know. So it's like
Marks.
for people who don't know Tama Tonga,
That must have been Corey Graves, because I doubt Michael Cole.
Probably, yeah. So
I doubt Michael Cole knows anything about Japanese wrestling.
yeah, so that might have sounded like a very random thing to say, right? But then that was actually a reference to their stable in New Japan. I thought that was pretty interesting. Paul Heyman at the end, the way he raised his finger, all nervous. that I got a laugh out of that too, man. Paul Heyman, he's the best. But yeah, it was a predictable. There you go. Yeah, like, just like it was hilarious.
Or show his face when Tonga Loa first came out, like when he was. Oh, that was great too. I mean, all of his face was great. You don't have to show it. You don't have to, but it was funny. I mean.
I do remember that.
And then the crowd. At some point during the match, I heard the "We Want Roman" chants.
Oh yes,
that's been an ongoing thing recently. That's interesting. But yeah, predictable results. For sure, I knew that the Bloodline was going to win, and then as soon as what's his name, Nick Aldis? Is that his name? As soon as he mentioned that this would be like a street fight, I knew right away. Okay, there's going to be a new Bloodline member showing up. Then, like that, I knew for sure it was going to happen during this match.
All right, Vlad. So a little bit of an advancement in the Bloodline storyline. I guess we got a new member. That's something. Yeah. So what are your thoughts about this?
I love it, man. I thought this was great. I thought the whole thing was great. Obviously, I don't.
Solo.
It's hard to. Well, I think Robert made
Solo's doing good, huh? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, Solo's doing great. I was saying Robert made a great point about they have to kind of try to find some sort of legitimacy for this new Bloodline group, this group that's kind of led by Solo and not Roman, right? So they had to give him this key win against established stars like Randy and Kevin Owens, right? So I thought it was an entertaining match, as much as it can be, given that it's like, kind of a quote unquote garbage match. It was entertaining. It kept my attention. I also thought there would be a new member, but I think we were all waiting. Well, at least I'm waiting for Jacob too, but another member. Okay, so I don't know if that means they'll have even more members. I think probably. What does that mean down the line for Roman? I don't have any idea. Like, is he going to have his own group? I don't even. Where are they going to find all these Samoans? Where are they going to find more people? I don't understand. How many different Samoans are in wrestling right now that they can actually just plug in there? I don't even know. It's a great question. I don't have the answers to that because I'm not familiar with how many are actually currently in the group. But I assume the Usos will also get back into this feud, at some point as well. But anyways, I was entertained. Bottom line, I don't want to take up again too much time since we're kind of short on the amount of time we can talk about stuff. But I did enjoy this.
All right, so let me move on then with the podcast. I guess I'm the host. Oh, one thing I was going to say about the Bloodline stuff that I forgot to mention is that I don't think Solo's the leader of the Bloodline. I think The Rock is the leader of the Bloodline.
Oh, I see. This is all coming. Like, this is going to be the reveal that it's all coming from The Rock.
That's a good point. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys, you guys thought
that would
about
make
that
sense.
yet?
I didn't think about that.
I did not. I did
Oh.
not. But that makes sense. That would make sense, especially once they bring The Rock back. Yeah.
You heard it here first on the Malapert Smark podcast.
Yes, we did.
Inside information. That's not meaning inside from the wrestling business. It means inside from Kahan's soul. So I can feel it. I can feel it. This is The Rock. Why else would Solo be so confident going in there like that? I think he has instructions from somebody. That's why he's not listening or caring about Paul Heyman, and he's not saying anything, and he's doing his job perfectly well.
He knows his role.
Yes.
He knows his role, exactly.
All right, let's see what we got next. Oh, this is actually part of the same storyline. Jey Uso, they bumped into him in the back. He was getting ready for his world title match against Damian Priest. And I don't think anything happened here. I think they all just looked at each other, right?
Looked at each other, yeah.
The new bloodline bumped into him. They all just looked at each other. Like a bunch of his cousins just walked by.
Yeah,
So.
basically. Oh, Solo is actually his brother.
I think it's probably important to point out that in SmackDown, there was a segment featuring Paul Heyman where he admitted that Roman Reigns didn't actually pull himself out of the draft.
Oh yeah.
That I thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah,
Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was told to pull Roman Reigns' name out of the draft.
No, he said he did it himself. He hasn't talked to Roman.
Or he did it himself. Oh.
Yeah, that's right.
He said he hasn't talked to Roman since WrestleMania, and that he pulled Roman out of the draft because it was just too much chaos for him to deal with right now. So Roman is just on his own, just being, isolated or something, being depressed.
Yeah,
I don't know. Thinking
he's depressed. He's depressed. Of course, he lost the title, so he's depressed.
It'd be weird. Yeah, when you think you're gonna be champion forever and then you lose it all of a sudden. Yeah, it's like losing your girlfriend or your wife. It'll take some time for him to come back. But anyways, moving along. I think that's all the bloodline business we have, because Jey Uso's not in the bloodline. But yeah, let's talk about his match with Damian Priest. I guess his World Heavyweight title match. And is this oh no, this is where the interference came. I guess JD McDonough from the Judgment Day was out there. He didn't really get involved. Jey Uso kind of went out there to fight with them on his own.
No, he did get involved. He did get involved. He interfered prior to that.
Oh, okay, my bad. All right, well, I rewinded it back.
It's all right. Don't worry about it.
Well, this is basically the end of the match, I think.
Yes. What is it? What did he call it? South
of Heaven. Yeah.
South of Heaven. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Michael Cole.
I don't know why I didn't have a bookmark on there. I guess I missed that one. But anyway, so yeah, Damian Priest retains the World Heavyweight title, is still a champion. But there was an aftermath, a little bit of an aftermath. I guess JD and Finn were out there to do a post-match beatdown. They're like, yeah, we're heels. That's what we do, post-match beatdown. And then Damian...
Finn's like, yeah, let me hit him some more.
Yeah, why? And Damian's like pulling them off, and he's kind of mad at them. He's like, no, that's enough. So, man, this group, I'm telling you, Judgment Day, they have teased so many breakups with them that this group will never break up. They just keep fighting and they have squabbles and they just, they never really break up though. I don't know. But a lot of people do say that Damian is on the verge of breaking up and going by himself.
I have
for sure.
Okay.
Sorry, Robert, go ahead.
I have this wild thought in my head, just going along with the idea that Damian is gonna move on from the Judgment Day. This sounds kind of crazy, but hilarious at the same time. Imagine Dominic Mysterio as the new leader of Judgment Day.
Well, it would be Rhea, though. What do you mean? Why would it be Dominic?
Rhea's not around right now.
Well, she could still lead from afar, for real. It would never be Dominic. Okay, but yeah, that is a funny thought, Robert.
Yeah. That is a funny thought.
I mean, maybe. I could see that happening. I could see Dominic pulling anything off, to be honest.
I think it would be hilarious.
I think Dominic could do anything. But, all right, moving on. Let's see what we got next on this show. See what the next bookmark is. I don't even remember. Oh, it's a women's tag team match. It's Jade and Bianca versus Damage Control, Kabuki Warriors, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. So Jade Cargill's already in a women's championship match. Pretty soon into her, debut. When did she start at WrestleMania? Really? Was that kind of her start?
Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble.
But really though, she started at WrestleMania because she's been having matches.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, she had a few job matches. Yeah.
Well, she was in a tag team match on SmackDown. I guess they had like a 6-man tag or something.
That's true.
But yeah, so she's working more. Anyways, how did this end? Well, this is just an example of Jade being like really strong. But I didn't really watch this whole match. I don't know if anyone did and has comments about how she did. I'll show the ending first. Let's show her what is that move called? Her.
I forgot what it's called, but it looks pretty sick.
Yeah. Especially the way she did it to Kairi Sane, dude. Like, she caught her, like, in midair. Kairi Sane took this, like, so good. And her facial expressions, that was, like, the best.
No, that was great.
Yeah.
That was great. Anyway, so they did win. So this is a win for Bianca and Jade, their tag team champion. Sorry, Robert, were you going to say something?
This was an okay match. There was some miscues, I think. Some by Jade Cargill and a very noticeable one by Kairi, and I think where the ref, she tried to pin Jade, I think, and then the referee told her, "You're not the legal person in. It's supposed to be Asuka." And then after that, she went out for an armbar, right after the referee told her that, and that was a really odd sequence. It was an okay match, but I think it was also a predictable result at the same time.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Robert. There were a couple of miscues, but it wasn't like they weren't like glaring. Like sometimes AEW has like glaring stuff. I mean, they were just like that kind of went a little south. But I still think Jade looked really good. Like, I think she's coming along quite well, and I think putting her with Bianca as like a mentor is a great idea. If you're going to learn,
that's what I was going to ask you. What do you think about this tag team? Yeah, I mean,
I think that's fantastic for Jade. I think, and eventually, I think the assumption is that it's going to lead to a match between themselves, right? I think that's like down the line. I don't know how long they're going to stay as a group, or a tag team, I should say. But I think it's perfect to put somebody that's easily one of the best women's wrestlers in the world with Jade. As I'm hopeful she learns something from her as far as just how to work in the ring and stuff like that. I mean, that's the goal. That's the hope. So far, yeah, this was fine. You know, like I said, some mistakes during the match, but not all of them were her fault either.
Yeah.
So okay.
All right, so yeah, I mean, I guess you let it pass sometimes for someone like Jade who has all the other things. Like, she's in shape.
Yeah.
She does the moves pretty well, so, okay, if she makes a couple mistakes here and there.
I mean, her look is great. Like I said, that's her biggest quality is that she has a tremendous look. Like, the look is like a 10. So just trying to get her to at least be solid in the ring. She doesn't have to be, Bret Hart. She just has to be passable,
Well, if you're thinking she's going to have a match with Bianca someday, I mean, that's going to have to be pretty complicated. A little bit of a good match if they're going to put a match together.
Yes, but I think what I'm saying, they're not there yet.
Yeah,
they're gonna want to get there, and I'm sure that's what they're working towards. I'm sure she's going through the training that she needs to go through to get to that point. I'm hopeful. We'll see, because the look is there, the personality is there, the persona, it's all there. It's just about getting her to be a in-ring performance.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Let's move on, though. We got a limited amount of time, maybe a half an hour left. So, AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes. This was the main event of the evening. Kind of a long match, right? A technical masterpiece, I guess you might call it. I didn't think it was that exciting. There was no interference. I love interference, but they just had a match. So 20 minutes in, here's a powerbomb through a table. I guess AJ took. There was a spot. I usually show the spots on our show, at least. A few of the hardcore spots. That wasn't too hardcore, but AJ did go through a table. 450 splash off the top rope. Here's at the end when they're kind of all really exhausted. I think this is pretty much the end of it. Oh, this is a top rope Cody cutter off the top rope. That was pretty good. And then I think that leads to a crossroads. Pretty much. No interference, just a clean loss for AJ, who keeps talking a lot of shit. Smacked him too, and then just took a clean loss. Good God. So yeah, Cody's still the champion. Alright. Did we talk about this enough earlier, or do you have any other comments about it? Anybody have anything else to say?
I thought this was an amazing match. I thought this, though, when they put, like, for example, there's a lot of praise for, like, Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. I thought this was way better than that. Like, this was tremendous. This is what when I consider wrestling, like, two guys that can actually work in the ring, this is kind of the match I'm thinking about. This is more of the style and pace that I'm looking at compared to whatever the hell is going on in AEW, you know? So this was an amazing match, I thought. Now, yes, we talked about issues with the feud and whatnot. Yeah, okay. But the match delivered as far as what they were trying, as far as the work that they put into this was amazing. I would say this was a 5-star match. This was a 5-star match. This was incredible work by both guys. Tremendous.
All right, Vlad. There you go, Vlad laying down the 5 stars. How about you, Robert? You got a star rating for us?
I'll say this match was phenomenal.
All right.
I loved it, man. This is honestly this is probably my favorite AJ Styles match in a long time. I don't know how many years. It's been a while since I've seen an AJ Styles match this good for me personally. So
tremendous.
Yeah, I loved it. The feud was whatever, but this match delivered.
No, absolutely. And I think it also needs to be said the crowd throughout the whole night was amazing, but especially during this match was crazy good. I mean, me and Robert were kind of talking about it prior to like us really starting the show, which was just like when you don't have wrestling, when you don't get a lot of events, you just get these crazy crowds, rabid fan bases, you know, just enjoying the action. And they were pretty hot the whole time, making crazy amounts of noise. The situation where, or the scene where AJ was doing something and the crowd was just going crazy. I guess every time they say, every time something happens and it's phenomenal, like they get crazy or something. I don't really know what they're saying. I just remember the camera was shaking as the crowd was going insane. That actually made the pay-per-view a lot better for me. Just the crowd reaction. I mean, it was already, I thought, like a decent show, and the crowd just made it, like, I think, a lot better just based on their reaction. I think it just needs to be noted.
Yeah, but if they had more shows, they wouldn't be as enthusiastic. Yeah, you give them one show every 10 years.
You're right.
I'm not saying you're wrong about that. I'm just saying this specific show was great because of the fact that they didn't have a lot of shows in France, probably ever.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting. Well, I think WWE comes around not so often, so that they still keep people excited. It'll be interesting
to see their thing, right? Now in Backlash, they're going international specifically, right? They've gone to Puerto Rico. They did a Canada show in Backlash. Now they were in France. Well, they were also in Australia, but that wasn't for Backlash. But recently, so they're doing a lot of like these global shows because they are now like a global company. I mean, they've always been, but now even more so. You know.
Well, I'm interested to see what type of ticket sales All In does for London this year when AEW go back there, because, man, their show...
80,000. I'm just kidding.
300,000 people will fill
their show has been struggling in terms of the ratings, in terms of critical acclaim. We're switching to AEW, by the way. We're done with WWE for the week. So I'm going to start talking about Dynamite from this past May 1st. It was on Wednesday. And lowest rating, I think I've heard, Vlad, is that what it was? Lowest rating ever for a Dynamite? Or
that not? The week before, when when
Tony Khan took that TK driver.
Yeah, that was one of the lowest of all time, maybe in the last 3-4 years. But this one was actually a bit up. It was still pretty bad, but I guess they can consider that a victory, that it didn't plummet even further, that they actually went a little bit up overall. But yeah.
Well, overall, I was expecting to see a horrible Dynamite, but I think some of it was pleasantly surprising to me. Let's go through a couple bookmarks I have.
I like this part, actually. this made me laugh.
Oh, yeah. Robert is seeing a little preview of Tony Khan opening the show, and he said he wasn't medically cleared to leave the draft, whatever. He's doing the NFL draft for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I really would love to know what he knows about football and NFL, but okay.
The same thing he knows about wrestling, it seems like.
I don't know. I don't think there's enough time for him to be watching wrestling and covering NFL stuff and whatever else he does. I think that's why all his ventures kind of suffer. But anyway, so the Young Bucks cut him off because they're EVPs, and they explain that they didn't get fired because they have ironclad contracts, right? Is that what happened? Because everyone's wondering, oh, why wouldn't they fire them if they fired CM Punk just for getting close to him? So, anyways, this was funny, right, Robert? Do you like this? You like the Young Bucks?
I like them better now than before this new gimmick. That's for sure.
They're not the worst actors.
They're more entertaining. And this segment, I got a kick out of it. They cut off their own boss. It's hilarious.
Okay, yeah, I do want to see how this goes down when Tony Khan comes back, or if he's gonna be on the show, or what the heck, how they're gonna make this make sense. Which, of course, Vlad, AEW doesn't make sense. I know you're gonna say that, but
well,
okay.
I have to. You're taking. I didn't say anything yet. You're just assuming I'm gonna crap all over them.
Oh, the opening is all the elite stuff.
It's all elite and Jack Perry. They should just put Jack Perry in the elite at this point, because, yeah, I know the opening sequence is it's pretty funny. All right, let me move on with the show. I didn't bookmark everything, but let me see what we have. I think Swerve Strickland opened the show, right? Yeah, so the champion comes out, cuts a promo, says some shit about the Young Bucks. He said it was a bitch move, what they did to Tony Khan, right? And then the Young Bucks came up on the screen, and they said that there was a #1 contender for his title, and Christian's music hit. So Christian is with the bad guys, which I think is a good, funny way for him to get heat. But anyways, so Christian's the new #1 contender out of nowhere. So that's where I popped, right, Vlad? I'm a big Christian fan, as you know. And Christian's back, and I'm like, yes, okay. So he gave up the TNT title, and now he's in the world title picture, which makes sense because he really is one of the best that AEW has had in AEW's history. And then he sucker punches Swerve, and Swerve kind of makes a comeback, fights them off, but in the end, they do beat him down. And, oh, my bad, I rewinded by accident. But, yeah, they do beat him down and leave him laying, as they say. And Christian mentions a couple things. He said that this is getting him back for Strickland breaking into Nick Wayne's house and beating him up, right, back when Nick Wayne was a babyface good guy. And then he also said that he was mad at him for when they were a tag team at All In, that he blames Swerve for them losing to Sting and Darby. So, okay, I don't know. I really didn't think they had to bring up any of that old stuff. I think this was good enough on its own, just coming in trying to attack the world champion. But he did say something about Swerve's daughter, right? Was that the savage jab of the night? Should we play it?
Your daughter feels like she doesn't even know you.
Oh, hold on. I'll rewind it a little bit because it got cut off.
Being into it to the point.
He told him that he remembers Swerve saying that he put so much into becoming champion that he hasn't even been around his daughter, and that his daughter doesn't even know him or recognize him at this point.
Your daughter feels like she doesn't even know you. Well, Swerve, when I'm finished with you, your daughter's not going to want to know you. But I can promise you this. your daughter is going to have a father that she can be proud of for the rest of her
Oh,
life.
so she's going to invite Swerve's daughter to be his daughter. Is that what he's saying? It wasn't one of his most savage attacks, but it was, he had to bring up a family member, I guess.
But I think he didn't mention any dead relatives.
That's true.
He didn't know of any. If he knew of any, he would have.
If he knew any, he would have mentioned them, exactly.
Well, okay, so I'm happy about Christian being back. Any comments, Vlad?
Yes, I will say I agree with you. This was not bad. This was okay. This was a pretty good opening segment. I'm a big fan of Christian, as you are. I think he is one of their best, and he's definitely a guy that can get crazy heat. So, yeah, I'm actually thinking this is not a bad idea. So I'm for it. Let's just see where it goes. Though.
Man, I would love to see him as AEW champion, man. Even without his previous history, just his AEW history, he deserves a run, I think. But Robert, before I move on.
All right, so rewinding just a bit towards the beginning, when the Young Bucks were introducing the new contender for the title, the way they described the new contender, I thought it was gonna be Kenny Omega, because Kenny Omega was already advertised to make his return here, right? And they said it's a Canadian of former Canadian that was a former champion. So that plus the fact that Kenny Omega was already advertised to return, I was like, all right, it must be Kenny Omega. And then when it turned out to be Christian, I got swerved right there. But yeah,
you sure did.
I sure did. But hey, you know what? This is cool. I like Christian too, and I think this should be an entertaining feud.
All right. Yeah, I think so too. I hope Christian wins the title, but I don't know. If not here at some point. But all right, let me move on with whatever I got bookmarked next. We got Samoa Joe. He had a squash match, I think, against Brother Zay, right? They sent Isaiah Cassidy out there to make Joe look good, which I just wanted to mention for a minute just because I'm glad they didn't completely forget about Samoa Joe. Just a quick, nice win. And, I don't know if he could get back into the title picture, really muddy it up a little bit. I would love to see more stars in there trying to get at that title. Christian, Swerve, Joe. I mean, I don't know. If they could get more people involved instead of just these long feuds with just two people for many months at a time, I would like it to get more crazy, like back when Stone Cold and Undertaker and Triple H and Mankind and everybody's trying to get the title. You know what I mean? The Rock. So, okay, Joe's still involved. I don't know. It remains to be seen if they can coherently keep him involved. But I'm just mentioning that. If anybody wants to comment, I'm just going to move on, I guess, from that one. Let's see what I got next. Mariah May, she lost to Serena Deeb, and this is Serena Deeb's warm-up match for her title match against Timeless Toni Storm. And I think Timeless Toni Storm threw in the towel here for her girl, right? And there's a whole nother storyline here with Mariah May with her old tag team partner from Japan, which I haven't really talked about on this show, but I don't really want to get into it, honestly. But I guess I'm just mentioning Toni Storm here because Toni Storm gets us views, man. By the way, Toni Storm, our highest watched video out of any video we've ever had on any platform. It was Toni Storm on Instagram kicking Thunder Rosa in the ovaries to win the match.
That's what it
Behind the referee's back.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, a lot of people saw that thumbnail and clicked on it. So
it's fair.
All right, so yeah, I do got to give Toni Storm a mention here. This is a good match, though. Toni Storm against Serena Deeb. I don't know. Serena Deeb, extremely serious wrestler, Bret Hart style of wrestler, and Toni Storm, a completely nutcase, silly wrestler at this point with the gimmick that she's a Hollywood actress from the black and white era with no sound, or the silent film era. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect from it. I mean, I don't expect a title change, but
no, I don't either.
No.
Well, you would think not. I mean, I think they're really set on Toni Storm. They love her character. I mean, I liked it in the beginning, but I think at this point it's kind of become a little too goofy for me. But overall, we'll see. I mean, I do like Serena Deeb, and at least they'll probably. I don't know if they're going to have. I mean, it'll be a good match. I know that much, but what will come of it? Probably not much, to be honest.
All right. Robert, do you have any comments about Toni Storm and Serena Deeb, this matchup? I mean, I consider this a pretty good matchup. I mean, people are saying the AEW women's division sucks, and they don't have it. They don't have the wrestlers. They don't have the talent. I mean, this is as good as it gets.
Yeah, but this should be a good. Yeah, this should be good. I'm looking forward to it. I don't. There's not really much else to say. I will. One quick comment about Mariah May. I feel. I don't know if I'm crazy here, but I see some star potential in here. I feel like there's some potential to push her to be a big star for AEW. I don't know if they're actually gonna do it or not, but we'll see. But as far as this feud between Toni and Serena Deeb, I don't think Toni will lose the title to her, but it should still be a good feud regardless.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I've been enjoying Mariah May also. I haven't really been talking about it on this show, but I do like her whole angle that's happening on the side of this. I mean, she might leave Toni Storm, or I don't know what's going on. But anyways, last thing, Robert, before you got to leave, was Kenny Omega's return. He got the big, ring announcement from Justin Roberts and everything that he's not from North Carolina, but for some reason, something about North Carolina, I don't know. So Kenny Omega comes out, coming back from injury, and he gives this whole story about how he had diverticulitis and he still has it. And it was a weird story. It was very sad and emotional that he had to make a choice between having surgery and ending his career or not having surgery. And I guess something could always happen, and he could always have to end up going to have that surgery anyways, right? Did I summarize that well enough or no?
I think you pretty much nailed it.
Yeah, very emotional AEW type promo, all up in his feelings and stuff. Before I move on to what happened at the end of it, I guess I'll get comments from you guys and how, he was fired up and he was saying, he was very shaking and trembling and he had anxiety for many months, and then he wasn't sure if he could come back, and then he heard the fans as he was walking out, and he lost all that tremble, and he's back, and he's gonna give us the end of Kenny Omega's career. What do you guys think of this? I'll start with Robert. Is it a good promo?
It's good. Nothing spectacular, but it was good. Yeah.
This is as good as it gets for Kenny Omega. I mean, come on.
Sure.
This is an important situation for him. He's coming back.
Yeah.
And he's got center stage. He's got 5 good minutes to talk. Vlad, I know you're a big critic of Kenny Omega. You want to give this promo and some analysis?
I mean, I guess if compared to his other work, this was probably the best AEW promo I've ever seen him do. I mean, that's like again, we're grading on a curve here because it's AEW and it's Kenny Omega, and he's really a horrific promo. So this was, I think it was a lot from the heart. He was talking from the heart. I'm sure he's had issues, a lot of health issues. I don't really see how it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to come back anytime soon based on what he was saying, though. So I don't really, this was only it wasn't really a comeback. It was just more of an angle to get more heat on his former group, but you know what I mean? So I don't see him back like next week or after this attack type of thing,
Well, he did take a bump, as we'll see. Hold on, I'll play it in a second. Let me play what happened afterwards. Okay, so
Sure.
After he talked about his health issues, he finally addresses the Elite and his friends, the other EVPs, the other executive vice presidents, the Young Bucks who attacked Tony Khan last week.
Anyone watch Dynasty?
And here's what he said.
Piece of business. When we're talking about colostomy bags, why not talk about 2 other shit bags while we're at it?
Okay, so that was the first moment where we find out that he is not going to be with the Elite anymore, or with the Young Bucks. because he called them pieces of shit or bags of shit, I guess. So
Nicholas.
Matthew and Nicholas.
You've been running roughshod over this company and embarrassing yourselves more than you've embarrassed yourselves ever before in the past. And you can do that. You're free to do that as EVPs. But what you forget is that there's also one other EVP. I may be fired from the elite, but you can't fire me as an EVP. So as far as I'm concerned, until someone says otherwise, a part of the power in this company belongs to the best bout machine.
All right, so he's here to oppose the elite, right? And they're running roughshod, as he said, over this company. I like that line. That was what they used to say about the NWO, running roughshod over the company. That's just like what the Young Bucks are doing right now. So,
well, you know what though, I was thinking as you were saying it, as you were showing what you said, he might not be able to wrestle, but maybe he could be used in like some sort of role where he's battling with, you know, the elite, but as like an EVP instead of a wrestler type of thing. I guess that could sort of make sense.
I'm kind of struggling to see how he's not back if he took the bump that he took today or on Wednesday. Here. So Okada comes out, and this is an ambush. Okada tells him that he's going to steal his nickname. He's now going to be the best bout machine. And then Jack Perry comes from behind and attacks him, sucker punches him, and then I think Kenny Omega kind of gets the upper hand and suplexes him. So now he's doing the Bret Hart thing, where he's going to sell his stomach for the rest of his career for every single move he does. The way Bret Hart would have like a knee injury and just limp around for the whole fucking match. So this is the new thing for Kenny Omega. So look, I don't know if he really has diverticulitis and he's out there suplexing people. You know, Vlad, I don't know. You know, is this really real? Is he like gonna die at any moment, possibly?
Well, I don't know if he's gonna die, but I mean, I would think that he probably does have the disease. I mean, it's been, why else has he not been in wrestling if he doesn't have something, right? So, but as far as how bad it really is in reality, as opposed to how it is in the angle, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. If he ends up coming back, fine. I mean, they could probably use him. They could use him for this. So
yeah, he said any blunt force trauma to his stomach, and you know it'll be the end of him. And then he just took a steel chair to the stomach from Jack Perry, and then the elite come out and give him the V trigger to end the show. Just to summarize, just to give you guys what happened in case you guys don't know. So yeah, the elite come out, lay out Kenny Omega, and I think the FTR, right, are the ones who come out to help Kenny Omega, which is a little weird. I don't know. I don't know. Like, CM Punk was involved in that fight with Kenny Omega, and now FTR is supposed to be friends with them in the storyline. Okay, I don't know.
Well, not that they're friends, but they hate
the elite.
The elite, yeah.
Okay, all right. Robert, any comments about this angle here with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks? Did you like this?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the better angles involving the elite in a while, so sure, why not? But as far as you know, how serious Kenny Omega's condition is, I would imagine that if he's really gonna come back to wrestle, it can't be as serious as he's claiming it to be.
Agreed.
So, but I really don't know. I haven't really checked on his actual like real status, or like how legitimate how legitimate his condition is as far as like compared to what he's actually telling the fans right now. So we'll see.
All right, Vlad, any final comments about Dynamite today?
Yeah, I think I stand by what I said last week, which was, look, I'm not a fan of any of these people. I don't particularly like them or respect them, or like we don't agree on what good wrestling is. But I will say this, that this is an angle. It's something. Robert said this is the best angle in a while with the Elite. I think this is the only angle that I've ever seen in 5 years with the Elite. Really, the only one that really sticks. So I would say at least it's something, which is what I was said last week. You know, they're going with something. I'm not saying it's going to work out. I'm not saying they even know what the heck they're doing, but at least there's something involved that's not just, let's just have a match and for the sake of having a match and let's put on a 7-star banger, as Kahan would say. You know, so yes, I'm at least I'll give them that. They're trying something.
All right, then. I think unless I missed something, unless you guys have something that I missed from this past week, I think I've covered it all. There was no Collision, which I was surprised. Today I was going on to put Collision. There was nothing there.
Well, there was a Rampage right after this, but I didn't really see much. I don't think there's much from there to discuss, anyways.
Rocky Romero versus Kyle O'Reilly.
There was the Willow Nightingale versus. Was it Sky Blue or was it Sky Blue? I can't remember.
I think you're right. It was Sky Blue, and it was like was it like some sort of was it like a no DQ match or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I remember from Rampage.
I can't even. No, probably nothing worth talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I basically got it all. I don't know. I think I skipped the one thing I skipped was that 3-way from Backlash with Bayley and Naomi. Which I thought Bayley for sure was going to win, so I didn't really think that was an interesting match, really. I forgot who was the third person in that. Bayley, Naomi, and
Tiffany Stratton.
Tiffany Stratton, yeah.
Tiffany, okay. And then I think on Raw, I guess Becky Lynch is the women's champion, the women's world champion, and she's going to feud with, like, Liv Morgan or something? Or
I didn't watch Raw. I'm not sure.
Well, right. We don't really. Well, yeah, maybe Liv. Right.
I know Liv Morgan and Nia Jax had a match or something, and I don't know who won. So my memory is failing me for what happened on Raw. It's too much wrestling.
There's a lot of wrestling. I think you're right, though. I think Liv Morgan is.
I think that makes sense because Liv Morgan was the one who put out Rhea Ripley, so it would make more sense. So, anyways, all right, that's it. We've got the week covered. Let's put this out. We're gonna put this out on YouTube and. You could listen to the show also on any podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, them type of things. And also hit subscribe on YouTube if you hadn't yet. Tell your friends. We're going to try to review the wrestling. Sometimes we go classic. This week we didn't really have time to, but we're going to get back to our 1996 stuff next chance we get. Continue our WCW Odyssey. But for right now, for Vlad, the wrestling expert, and for Robert, the frozen Asian, this has been the Malapert Smark podcast. I'm Kahan. Thank you, whoever's out there listening. We hope you have a good week. We'll see you next time.
All right. See ya.